Man, I don't know what it is about that intro, but it kind of get me hyped every time, man. I don't know if that's being conceited or what, but that's some good stuff, man. So here we are again, Tuesday night. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're listening live or if it's from one of your favorite podcast channels. We do appreciate the support always. So it's Tuesday, Teague Take Tuesday, and man, we got some stuff to really get into tonight because we're going to talk a lot of defense. That might bore some of y'all a little bit, but it's really important. Before we get started with that, though, I need to remind everybody again, if you're listening or normally follow us on Facebook, know that we will be moving all of our shows just to YouTube when we do the live versions that will happen at the end of the month. So make sure you get over to Teague's Take YouTube and subscribe. Hit that little bell so you know when we're up. But we're going to be remaining on Tuesdays. Just we got some options and some different things we need to do over there. So we want everybody to make sure that they remember that and don't miss anything. You can always see the archive shows there if you want to see us live, or download us on your podcast channels so that you can hear us. We're up to about 60. That's where JT says anyway. So things are going good there. But so let's jump into this a little bit. So what I want to say first before we bring our co-host and our guest in is I need to talk about the importance of defense. Now I think it's kind of changed a little bit, and it's not really the whole point to all of it. It's just defense, as we say it, we always say that defense wins championships, and it's really important for us, our teams, particularly Alabama, whether or not what kind of defense are we playing. I'm selfish a little bit as a defensive guy, of course, um, but I still think that it is important when you're trying to win a national championship or a Super Bowl that the teams with the best defenses have to be able to play. They got to be win. They got to get the ball back to the offenses so they can score. It is becoming an offensive game, right? I think teams are scoring a whole lot more points, and I think that's why it is important. That maybe the goals may be different. I've mentioned it on previous um, episodes that the goals are different. You're not necessarily trying to keep them to 17 points. You're trying to make a punt. How many times can you get the ball back to them? So the variances of what a good defensive is is really what we want to hit on tonight. And I think we might have some fireworks with this tonight. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and bring JT in, the analytical one. So he's going to have some data for us and stuff of that nature. And of course, we need to give a big round of applause to Marvin Constant coming on to be our guest. He's a yes, sir.
There it is. Wrong button. My bad. That actually was an accident. I wasn't trying to be funny. That was an accident.
That's called the precursor of what he's trying to say about you, I guess, Marvin. But we'll see what he's thinking about that. So it's let me give you the preface of how this all started. So I guess it probably was. I'm not sure. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago. Probably somewhere around there. Marvin posted something on Twitter, I believe. I don't know if he did it on Instagram or somewhere else, but I saw this chart that he put in on about Alabama's defense and where we were ranked. Um, and I just kind of got the vibe that he was trying to make a point that hey, our defense is not that good. And I don't know. We're going to let him talk about that, but so I screenshotted the graphic because I thought, this is interesting. Um, because it really did bring some really good attention to me. I was like, all right, I see him trying to do a little research. I don't know where he got it from, but he was being all analytical with all this stuff. And so I sent it over to JT, and immediately JT says, well, hold on. This makes me have more questions about this and about him. And I said, He's like, this is incomplete information that he's not giving everything all the facts. So I did something I know I tweeted talking to him on the previous shows, and somehow the word got back to Marvin that I had said something about him. So we're here, we're fair and balanced, and we want to allow him to be able to come in and defend himself and see what the heck he's talking about. Maybe he can talk to us a little bit more. So, um, The way I want to start it before we get into the end of the data, I'm going to get straight to you, Marvin, and kind of say, what do you think about what I was saying? The importance of defense first. Is it still we got to have very good defenses to win championships, or is it truly about the offense now?
You have to have a solid defense to win a championship because offense is not always going to do what you need them to do because you're going to run up on a team, say, if you run up on a Georgia who's going to stop your offense from scoring a lot of points. So, what is your offense going to do to counter that? I mean, if you look at it right now, Georgia's giving up less than 7 points a game, number one in the nation. They're statistically in the top two or three in almost every defensive statistical category. So if you're playing a team like that, you need a defense that's going to keep you in the game as well because their defense is going to get stops. But if your defense doesn't get any stops, you're going to see that scoreboard run farther away from you as the game goes on. So you need defense. I think last year was the first season that we seen a team win a championship where the offense was completely in control of the team opposed to the defense. I think with Steve Sarkisian scoring points the way he did, it took a lot of the focus off the defense and their shortcomings. Because if you look at the game against Ole Miss, that was almost lost that one. You look at the game against Florida, SEC Championship, almost lost that one. A lot of teams have been scoring a lot of points on us the last 2.5, 3 years since Pete has been our defensive coordinator. Again, Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian built this offense to score points. Now that they're no longer here and their footprint is no longer here, it's Bill O'Brien. So the team's not scoring like they used to. So now you're seeing the importance of defense more than ever because it's no longer 40, 50 points going up there every game.
Okay, okay. And I concur with that. I think you're right in some aspects. I, how much, and JT, before we get to the other part, how much do you think this, whether we're good or not, let's not debate that part yet, but the defense is Saban. How heavy do you think Saban is in control of the defense versus Pete Golding?
I think that the game plan on what we want to do and what we want to accomplish each week coming in, um, I think Saban has a very big hand in. And if he doesn't, then that's I would say that's almost a dereliction of his duty um, as the head coach to be involved in game plans on both sides of the ball, actually. Um, and I have a few concerns. I see a different Saban that than what we've seen over the past few years, actually, particularly this year. Um, Now, as far as calling the plays during the game, clearly that's not what he does. He delegates that to his defensive coordinator. That is why he has a defensive coordinator instead of him being the defensive coordinator. Um, but I
Should
think
we have
that
one of those?
yes, I am, and I do believe that when they're deciding how they're going to scheme against their opponents, I do believe that Saban has a hand in that.
Okay, and I would agree with that. And I only ask that because on any level, I always try to worry about who's controlling what. I know how involved Nick Saban is in the secondary. So do we question him when there's a lot of mistakes or big plays there? Is it Pete Golding? Is it the players? I don't know. Um, I'm not in the meeting room, so it does. All I know is it makes me mad because they're giving up too many plays, big explosive plays. That was kind of my comeback to a lot of this stuff is that we're giving up a lot of explosive plays. Um, so, do we? And I didn't ask you about this, JT, and I apologize for it because I don't know if you actually have the graphic that Constant actually put up. Um, so we could before we get into the differences in the two, do we actually have the one that he did? Um, if not, maybe you can find it uh, so that people have a good reference of what we're talking about while they're watching this. If you're on the live show, I mean, if you're on a recorded show, you are going to want to make sure you get back on the YouTube or Facebook and look at these graphics so you understand exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so right now, statistically, I guess Georgia's still ranked number one defense in the country. I'm going to assume, and I don't know all the rest. I did not do the research and all that kind of stuff because I keep myself Georgia more than anything, right? Um, I have watched him play. I watched him pretty thoroughly this past game, and I kind of got eaten alive a little bit because I was like, I think we can move the ball on these guys, what we have with our offense, just because of the people that they've been playing and how they've been playing. Yes, they are very dominant. They do remind me of some old Alabama teams, particularly one in 1992. But anyway, I digress. Because they're scoring. Their attitude is crazy ridiculous. They're mad if the people are scoring touchdowns. They kind of got a little bit of mentality there. Um, so Marvin, now I need for you to kind of talk to me about your chart, the research you did, and how you really think about where Alabama is when it comes to rankings. How good
All
are they
right.
really?
So if you look at the amount of sacks that we actually have accumulated as a team, we're close to at the bottom of the SEC in the amount of sacks. And when you run the type of defense that we run, a lot of heavy man-to-man coverage, you can't be at the bottom of the list of sacks because that means your DBs are being asked to cover all day. You're giving quarterbacks forever to throw the ball. We are terrible at getting pressure. If you look at it right now, well, before last game, we were giving up 20.6 points per game. I think 15th in the FBS, giving up 200 and something, almost close to 300 yards passing per game, 55th in the FBS. And we're in the bottom of a lot of categories that are not good. If you seem to be, if you say your school is a defensive school, we're at the bottom of a lot of lists we shouldn't be at the bottom of because clearly, statistically, we suck.
I see Joe T rolling his eyes for something.
A
Are
little
you rolling
bit.
your eyes or are you looking for something? So
I'm
what are you saying?
thinking. I'm trying to figure out if you're 55 out of 130 teams, maybe that's not where you want to be at, but that's not the definition of sucking. That's well in the top half. If you're 7 out of 130, that's definitely not. That's not sucking.
Well,
If
here's
you're
the thing
2 out of 14, that's not sucking either. I don't think. I mean, unless
when you have a standard in place, we are well below said standard right now because that's not the standard, you see. So if the standard is mediocrity, sure, we're great if the standard is mediocrity. But is that really the Alabama standard? I don't think the Alabama standard is mediocrity.
is 7 mediocre?
What do you mean 7?
7 out of 130, top 10. Is that mediocre?
In total defense?
Yes.
Okay. It's two ways you can look at this. You can say we're 7 in total defense. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. But what do most teams do? Pass the ball. We're 55th in the FBS in passing.
Okay.
So that's a problem. That's
all right.
a
So,
problem.
let me ask you this then. So, what I did was I went and I looked at the teams that we faced and how many yards they throw for per game. And then I looked up how many yards we gave up to said team. And there are two that we gave up more yards than they usually throw for, which would be Tennessee and A&M. They were 22% increases and 37% increases. Everybody else, minus 19 and lower.
Now let me ask you a real question. Who did we play that's worth anything? Now you're gonna say Florida. I know the same Florida team that just got killed by South Carolina, the same Florida team that got killed by Kentucky. So that was our best win so far. Which now that isn't looking so hot anymore now, is it?
Well, we're not talking about wins. We were just talking about passing defense. And you got a team that's that throws for a lot of yards, and then they come into the game and they threw for less yards than they normally throw for. Is that not what you're trying to do?
What I'm trying to do is win and be consistent. Again, we lost to Texas A&M because we couldn't stop the pass. Tennessee gave us all we wanted. We had to pull away from them late in the fourth quarter. So that's not going to work if you get behind to an Auburn or to a Georgia. That's not going to work, you see. So you have to address these issues. And if people keep acting like the issues don't exist, then the problems are going to continue. Because, again, we were losing to Tennessee at halftime. We were losing to LSU for a long time. We lost to Texas A&M.
So what are you saying the issues are?
Well, hold on. Let me get two more points in. One, right. I agree with you that there are issues. What I don't agree with you is that we have a bad defense. Those are two mutually exclusive things. Having issues does not mean that our defense sucks.
I didn't say our defense was bad.
Yes, you did. I said back the tape.
I said the standard. If you judge them by the standard of what Alabama's known for, yes, they are bad. I said if you want mediocre, yes, we're good for mediocre, yes. But if you judge them by the standard, we're bad. If you judge them by the standard, that's what I'm saying.
What do you think our standard should be? I'm saying when you say that, what is it really? Are you supposed to be?
See, you want a national championship. I want an SEC championship. So we know what the standard looks like. Y'all had one of the top defenses in the country. When I was there, we had number 2 defense in the country. We was bar none. We wasn't backing down from nothing. We didn't care who we played. That standard means when we put these helmets on, we go on this field, we gonna do what we gotta do. There's no more intimidation when people play Alabama. People aren't scared to play Alabama anymore. People used to be scared to play Alabama. Are people really scared to play Alabama now?
Well, do you think it's really more of I like winning balls when we're getting everybody's best game, everybody's best coaching? They're tricking, they're scheming, they're watching more film than they ever watched. That's what I feel. I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I just think every single week there cannot be a letdown at all because then people are grinding.
But it seems like this team is getting worse when they should be getting better. That's all I'm saying. Again, you look at the performance last week against LSU.
Well, who carried that game? Yeah, but who carried that game? What side of the ball won that game?
Are you talking about the defense that played against the LSU offense with 1-2 starters, and everybody else on the offense with backups?
Is that not
offense?
Has that been different than the LSU that was?
Hold on. That was a horrible offense. And you look at the fourth quarter, they were marching deep into Alabama territory 3 times in the fourth quarter. If that offense had been remotely decent, they would have scored at least 14 and 17 points. But that was a terrible offense that marched into Alabama scoring territory 3 times in the fourth quarter alone.
And how many points did they come out with that?
Again, that's a terrible offense.
Answer the question. How many points did they score?
None.
None. All right. Thank you.
But again, if you want to judge by the performance of a terrible team, then you're never going to reach the ultimate goal. Because I guarantee you this. When you play a real team, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem when you play a real team with a real offensive line, real receivers, and a quarterback that can move the ball. That offense was horrible.
All right. So what it sounds like to me is you're saying that we've only played one team that was good
careful.
on
I
offense.
think this is a setup, Marvin. I think this is a setup for his prop for you here. I think that's called leading. If I'm going to be a
Well, I'm just trying to figure it out
judge over
because
here, I think that's
because
leading.
Texas A&M has lost 2 games. They weren't looking good. They only scored 7 against Colorado.
Their quarterback was also hurt against Colorado.
That was the same quarterback that's been balling out.
No. He did not start the game against Colorado. Their quarterback got hurt against Colorado, and he came in. Once he got 2 games under his belt and he really got the reps that the starter normally gets, he's a different player now. He didn't start the season. He didn't start against Colorado.
Nope.
Of course, once he started to get those reps and they started to pour into him, he's played much different now because the backup doesn't get the same reps that the starter gets. That's a given. Now that he's getting those reps, he plays 100% better than he did before.
Yes. So again, do you remember what the score was at halftime of that game?
All I know is we was getting beaten. I was pissed off.
So they came out and made some adjustments, and they looked a whole lot better, didn't they?
We still lost.
Okay.
Hold on. We still lost to a team that was playing a backup quarterback, if you want to talk about it, with 2 true freshman offensive linemen.
So the backups matter when we lose, but they don't matter when we win.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you can't out-scheme 2 true freshman offensive linemen. We had 0 sacks. They had 2 true freshman offensive linemen starting, and we had 0 sacks that game. You telling me you can't out-scheme 2 true freshmen? We don't have nobody on our defense that are better than 2 true freshmen?
Well, so let me pose this. 1, sacks are great, but points are what matter. Sacks don't actually matter. Points matter.
Hold on.
You win the game by having more sacks?
Sacks are great. If you're not getting Mr. Teague, Mr. All-World Teague, if you're not getting sacks, can you cover all day? I don't care who's playing cornerback. Can you cover all day if no pressure's getting there and you man to man?
No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Okay, but if you also are not giving up a ton of points, does it matter? If you can hold teams to fewer points than you score, does it matter whether you had 4 sacks, 18 sacks, or no sacks?
Well, here's the thing. We lost to Texas A&M. This team should be getting better week after week. Can you honestly say that this team is getting better week after week?
No. But wait. But that's because our offense is getting worse week after week after week. You know, the defense is actually not getting worse week after week after week. You're mad at the wrong side of the ball. The offense is getting worse.
No. I'm not mad at I'm mad at the team as a whole. Because whereas you say the defense is getting better, I got to see it. Again, I got to see it when it counts the most. Because, again, that was a bad LSU team. That was a horrible LSU team. Missing 9 starters. So I can't count that. You know, I can't use that as a true assessment for how much progress has been made.
So let's talk about some assessment, because JT did a lot of work on this kind of stuff, and I want to take a look, and I want him to kind of explain this, and I want you to either agree or try to debunk what he's saying too with this research that he did as well. So JT, if you can put us to a 3-screen off to the side there and pull up your little chart.
Let me see if I can remember what I did here. Hit allow, and then that works. And then I need to get rid of these boxes.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get to your blue box.
Right. Okay. So the first one that I did actually was total offense. And what I did was create a normal distribution. So what this means is a bell curve of all of the teams in FBS this year after 9 games. Is that how many we played? 9? week
Yeah.
9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran the statistics and tried to, and now I can't see my thing. So hold on.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Largest to smallest. So what I did
there you go.
was I put everybody into a percentile.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Is it just me, or do you hear him? Do you?
There you go. There you go.
Hold on.
You keep saying, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hold on. I don't know how to make him stop.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Can you pop out of the broadcast real quick and come back, Pops? Because your audio is on a loop. All right. So if you're looking at the screen, what you got is a statistical model on how good each defense is and the percentile that they're ranked in. So what you see is based on total offense, and I did rushing and passing too. Wisconsin and Georgia are actually just statistical outliers. Their p-values are so low, it's ridiculous. Like this is not normal compared to what an average defense should be performing in given the year 2021. What you'll notice is that Alabama is ranked 11 in the 91st percentile with no other SEC teams above them. Texas A&M is close, and then Mississippi State, and then I think there's like a far way you have to go before you get to somebody like Florida. So the first thing I guess I want to get from you is what do you think about this when you're looking at Z-scores, which if we need to actually talk about what Z-scores are, we can, but percentiles, basically just saying that Alabama's actually in the 91st percentile when it comes to total offense.
All right, so looking at this, I would say, not really impressed. I'm sorry. Again, we're sitting here at number 11. This is why I say what I say. For every year, you hear these people talk about number one recruiting class, number one composite number. You have 5 number one recruiting classes together. There's no reason for you not to be at the top of that list when you've had the number one recruiting class every year for almost the last decade. So that means your players are clear and uncut, supposed to be the best of the best. So either A, we're not coaching them up, or B, they're not what they say they are. It's one of the two. Because if you truly have 5 number one recruiting classes in there together, not to mention, you got the super seniors because last year didn't count for COVID. So you should have the best of the best. So either A, we're not coaching them up, or B, they're not what they say they are. So which one is it?
I would pose to you a C. We play way better offenses than I would say any team ranked above us right now.
Georgia's pretty much played the same schedule we've played. They played Arkansas.
No, we hadn't played Arkansas yet. They did play Florida, but they played Clemson. Clemson's offense is one of the worst.
They played Florida. We played Florida, who almost beat us. Yeah.
Okay. But you gave me one. There's 8 more games. Keep going.
But they play in the same conference as us, so they're playing a lot of the same.
But they're not playing the same teams.
So
just because they're the same conference.
Who has Alabama played that's so statistically good at offense?
Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee. There's a third of the schedule right now.
All right, well, let's see what Georgia does with Tennessee this weekend. There you go. There's your apples to apples comparison. Well, and I guarantee you it won't be.
And actually, I'm not. I'm not actually comparing them directly to Georgia. I'm comparing them to all of college football. I already told you from the very beginning, Georgia is so far ahead of everybody. They are actually a statistical outlier to the rest of the outliers.
But here's the thing: I don't believe in comparing to average. Because if you're comparing yourself to average, then you're never going to achieve greatness. If you're going to compare something,
But you're not comparing
to the
yourself to
top
average.
of the food chain.
You're comparing
So
to the population. That's everybody. That's how stats work.
Exactly. But who's at the top of that food chain? Right. So if I'm going to compare something, I'm going to compare it to what's at the top, not what's in the middle, not what's at the bottom. Compare me to what's at number one. That's the measuring stick to me. What's number one? Because again, are you saying that Georgia has better players than us, or are they better coached than ours? It's got to be one of the two.
Well, so the one thing I forgot that I want to talk about sacks was you have 2 of your 3 starting defensive ends out. So it might be, in fact, that they do have better players because one of their players on the defensive line is actually on the Heisman list. So there's one. We want to talk about injuries. We're missing Drew Sanders and Christopher Allen, who are very good at what they do. So you would think that if you have a decent offensive line, which Alabama does not have, if there's only one person that you're actually worried about blocking, which is Will Anderson, and you know the other 2 are not even playing, and that you've got a true freshman that just stepped in last week, of course you're not going to get any sacks. Is that actually the coach's fault?
Well, here's the thing. You recruit all these players to play them. So again, you telling me out of all the 5 stars that you've recruited, no one else can play when somebody gets hurt?
Didn't you just tell me just a minute ago that you don't get first team reps? And now you're telling me the fourth defensive end is now supposed to be like all world?
Here's the thing. I said quarterback. Quarterback is a unique position. The starting quarterback usually is going to get the bulk of the reps. When you start talking linebackers, defensive linemen, those guys rotate a lot in practice because coaches like to keep those guys fresh on the field. So those guys are going to get reps, unlike quarterback. Quarterback is that one position to where he's going to get the bulk of the reps. Defensive linebackers, those guys rotate in practice so that they can get those reps so that they can stay fresh in the game.
You're going to have a hard time convincing me that your 4th defensive line gets quality reps week in and week out.
Are you serious? You know how big those guys are?
I understand how big they are, but your 4th platoon that's a freshman? Dude, he just saw the field this week.
Mr. Teague Sr. do not multiple D linemen and linebackers get reps in practice. You know the answer to this.
Oh, hold on. He's talking. Hold on. He's on mute. We must both be hitting. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry. My mic and headset's been tripping over here the whole time, so I don't know what's going on. I got a little short or something kicking me out. I think you guys are having a good debate. I think you guys are both making some strong points about everything.
No, that was not the question. The question was, does not D linemen and linebackers multiple get lots of reps during the week?
They do get reps. Yeah.
How deep? Because I played in college too. I know that our 4th defensive lineman was not somebody that you were going to count on to pull in sacks like the first. Me, I just said that. Were you not listening to me when I said Dallas Turner is your 4th defensive end? And you were like, well, he gets reps too because everybody's getting reps.
Usually it's your 1s and your 2s that are getting the reps. Yes. But here's the thing. If you're a 2, you should be a solid 2.
But we don't have the 2. Our 4 defensive ends.
That's my whole point. Why do people keep saying that we have all these great recruits, number 1 recruiting class, 5-star, but it's not translating to the field? That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that maybe your assessment of what a 5-star actually is supposed to be is a little lofty. Because a 5-star does not mean every 5-star should just step on the field and beat up everybody as soon as they get there.
Nope.
Gonna be a
I didn't
pro.
say it was lofty, and I didn't say that they should do that. What I said was it does no good to get them there if you're not coaching them up. So clearly, there's an issue with coaching them up when they
Did you know
get
you
there.
can pay
That's
for
what I.
stars now? That when you're in high school, you can pay for your stars. There's a website
Yeah.
where you can donate a little bit of money. I'm just messing
But the
around.
biggest thing is, if you're not coaching the kids up when you get them there, it's no good to recruit them. That's my whole point.
But does that not take time? I'm specifically talking about Dallas Turner. That's what I've been talking about the last 5 minutes. And you were talking about
So you're
other
talking
people
about
outside of Dallas Turner.
you're talking about one player. Okay,
I'm
it takes
talking about here's what here. Let me restart so we can make sure we're on the same page. I went back to sacks. I told you that your second defensive end is out and your third defensive end is out. You have one starter and you have a true freshman backup to the backup to the backup. And I asked you, do you expect the fourth defensive end to be all world, or do you expect that line are going to say, he's the freshman, he hadn't been getting any reps, we're going to block Will Anderson instead? And the other two guys that have been hurt that are actually supposed to be starters and supposed to be producing, they're hurt. So we only have to focus on one dude.
Well, let me
And then
ask
you wonder
you,
why they don't have sacks.
how long have the other two guys been hurt? Most of the season, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So at this point in the season, you should be well versed enough along in this process to where you can be productive. I played young. I played young and went out there and held my own because I wasn't gonna let anybody come embarrass me.
So what I just heard was that Dallas Turner was in fact not productive yesterday or on Saturday.
I didn't say he wasn't productive. I said at this point in the season, he should be productive.
In his first game.
You got enough games under your belt to where he should be productive now. Yes.
No, Dallas Turner played for the first time Saturday.
But he's been in practice all year. Okay, practice counts. Okay.
Okay. So you're fourth.
action.
So again, your fourth defensive end who just got his first game reps should be productive. And what you said was that he was not productive.
I didn't say he was not productive. I said at this point in the season, yes, he should be. And he actually was very productive. I never said he wasn't productive. I said he should be productive at this point because of where time is in the season. He actually played a fairly decent game Saturday.
So we're not all that bad then, huh? Because we got, freshmen that are fourth string that are, kind of just out there doing what it is they do. Since, because we also had McKinstry, who's a freshman who actually just kind of got his first reps, that he played the whole game. You got DeMarco Helms, who I actually don't think is very good, but apparently we don't have anybody better. Wright is in and off the field. You got a new linebacker this year. You got basically your whole defensive line are all actually backups.
Okay.
Are they not?
All right. So I want to interject because you guys have been debating for about 40 minutes, well, probably about 35 minutes, I guess, pretty much all the show. And I will be curious to hear and want some feedback from others who listen to this podcast to kind of let us know who won this thing. How did this debate go? And I don't know, maybe you learned something from it as well because it's pretty intense. I think there's a lot of good things, and Marvin always does a good job. If you listen to his show, it's the Bama Standard, right? They're always going at it. It's comedic sometimes, as you can see on how he is, but they do give very good information as well. So make sure you chime in, hit us up on Twitter. Claire says it's a tie. JT might not like that. He might not like that.
That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
She's a teakster. So, I think it's pretty good debate. But so let's kind of talk into because I'm on the back end, and we want to make this one kind of quick, right? We're really about the secondary. So what I saw in the game was it still looked like we weren't prepared and ready, like hurry up offenses. We talked about this before the bye week. Um, Even when LSU was going hurry up, I literally saw on the screen our defensive backs, our corners, nickels, whatever, looking back at the safeties like they were looking for the call, and then they snapped the ball, and all our defenses are looking, or DBs are looking backwards. Now we made some plays. I think we out athleted them this game. That would be the way I put it. I think we out athleted them. But I'm more worried about that part. Um, the I don't know if we're too complicated or what it is. I'm not sure, Marvin and JT. It just seems like there's confusion happening way too often. So, what we're going to do about secondary is my simple question: Can that be fixed? Do we have enough time, to do that in the next 3 weeks?
I mean, it goes hand in hand though with the pressure you're getting because again, if you're not getting pressure, you're putting those guys in a compromising position, asking them to play man to man because nobody can cover all day. I mean, and you're right. They often look lost and confused. When's the last time you've seen this many busted coverages out of Alabama secondary? And I've been telling people all season that I think maybe he needs to simplify things. It does no good to have a playbook this thick if they can't run it. So at what point do you say, okay, let's scale this back to where we can come up with some solid defenses that we can work out of and just add adjustments and variations to that defense to where these guys can play fast and play hard. Because again, if you're thinking, you're not playing as fast and hard as you could be if you're having to think before you do what you do.
Hmm. Did you see any of that, JT, or is it I just
Yeah,
tripping because
we do have a lot of busted coverages. I just think I attribute that to somebody other than Pete Golding. I think that's a Nick Saban problem because as the head coach, if you one, he's the DB coach, and two, if you're actually going to, if you are noticing this week in and week out, and you just like Marvin just said, you need to simplify the defense, and that's not happening. Who is the one that needs to go into Pete Gold and be like, "Hey, look, we need to trim this down because we're not getting it or whatever."
mm, yes,
It
that
starts at
should
the
be
top.
Saban. Should be Saban. Should be able to. Well,
So
he
you're
has
saying Nick should be fired?
I'm not saying anybody should be fired because at the end of the day, I trust Nick Saban to do what he thinks is best. And as a tribute to your shirt, which if you're not watching, his shirt says hashtag Fire Pete. If Nick Saban believes that Pete Golding is the best person for the job, I'm not going to disagree with Nick Saban.
hmm Well, they're starting to get a lot of talk on what he's really becoming. Yeah, I mean, he's great. Obviously, he's done worlds. Nick Saban, I'm talking about for our university and for the teams, and put this standard where you're saying and keeping it up there. It's way up there and through the roof. But at some point you do say, okay, well, how many more years you got at this? Because I do know as a coach of this standard, where you're having to go hard every single week, he's got to be getting tired, man. He's on this grind. He's trying to figure out how to keep up with these young kids and TikTok and everything else. He want to go out and get out on Lake Tuscaloosa and chill out a little bit. Um,
Right.
but he can't. He can't. There's no way that he can. So I'm sure he's getting a little bit worn.
Yeah, well, we could
Um,
have Dan Mullen.
no, we can't.
No, that was rhetorical. Nobody wants Dan Mullen. Florida doesn't want Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen actually said that he doesn't recruit during the season.
Well, all right. So, good thing is we got a little bit lighter game. We should play better. I think it might give some people some false hope just because of who we're playing, but you'll get back into an Arkansas team that's playing halfway decent, I guess. And then, now we got to worry about Auburn, Bo Dix, Bigsby, those guys. That'll be a good test. Now we can't look past anybody, but we got to have a good showing. We got to get some confidence, get some guys healthy over the next couple of weeks before we get ready to go. All right. All right. So a lot of Alabama talk there, a lot of defensive talk, that kind of stuff. While I got you here, we only got about 10 more minutes or something like that, Marvin. So I kind of want to get you guys' take not really up for discussion or debate, this kind of stuff. Um, did both of you see? I sent the thing to JT. Marvin, did you see um the Chicago Bears incident last night with the official? Yeah, people overplaying this. Should this official be uh, suspended or not? That's the question. Simple. If you guys didn't see it,
You want my answer?
yes, I do.
Well, I took the Steelers on the money line, so I appreciate the official. Hey, thank you, sir. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
real
listen,
talk there, right?
I appreciate you.
Well, but did he not hip check the guy? Did the official not really hip check that dude? It looked like he intentionally tried to hit the
Yeah,
player.
when he turned around and he was trying to walk back. But here's my thing on that though. You were just activated the day before. Act like you've been there before. So they finally activate you, and then you go out there and you do that, after you make a play. Let your play speak for itself. Don't
That's
do
right.
things that are going to be detrimental to your team. There's no I in team. That was one of those I moments that cost the team. That's basically what it boiled down to. Whether he did it or he didn't do it, it was the perception of what he did. And again, the new taunting rules. The NFL is trying to take a lot of that stuff out of the game. And then you make contact with the referee. That's gonna make him throw the flag even more.
Yeah. Oh, he threw that thing about 50 feet up in there. What about you,
Oh, as soon
JT?
as he bumped the referee, you seen that flag come out.
He already had his hand on the flag,
Yeah,
though.
he was.
That's the
Yeah,
problem. He already had his hand on the
That,
flag.
that's good. We needed that. Again, I took him on the money line.
He's stupid,
I
man.
appreciate him for that.
Mm, mm.
Oh boy.
Well, JT, we overthinking it. I know you like to research and do everything,
well,
but
like I said, I didn't watch the game. I take Thursdays and Mondays off. So I watched the clip, and the clip was, I don't know, 3 seconds or whatever, and you see what looks like a player running off the field, a hip check, and a flag being thrown, and then the video ends, and you just, based on those 3 seconds, you just assume that he bumped, or the referee bumped the player and then decided, well, he touched me, I'm throwing the flag, which is probably not exactly what happened. I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing. But
Best call of the season.
well, I'm going to.
But what I did text you was that the field is 5,300 square yards, and you have to run right next to the ref. You couldn't have just, like, you knew he was standing there. You couldn't give him the 1 yard halo that you're supposed to give to punt returners. You had to go run. Even if the ref didn't move, he was going to run into the ref.
He shouldn't have hit him.
I appreciate him for that.
But well, I didn't go ask you how much I hope you won some money, not like $5 or something.
I don't
$6.
bet $5.
Yeah, $6.
No.
So I
That was a
think
quick 500.
I kind of well, that's good. I appreciate the donation here a little bit. I think of it the same way because the official was look at him. Most time, officials try to get out of the way.
It kind of looked like an and one foul, didn't it?
Yes, I was like, he could have. Okay, the player don't need to do that either, but he could have easily stepped up a yard or a step as well, like they typically try to do when people are running around and big guys are moving around. So I don't know. I don't know what the whole story is. I did see the celebration that the guy did, and he was overboard and all that kind of stuff.
It was a good celebration. I appreciate it for
it. So, all right, one more. Aaron Rodgers, COVID protocols. Is he gonna get in trouble for this, or will he get the slide pass? You, Aaron Rodgers, we don't care.
There 40 minutes ago, the Athletic broke the story, or at least reported, that there were fines assessed. The Packers were fined $300,000, and Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard were fined $14,650 for each violation, or each for violations of league and players association. So yeah, they got fined. I mean, I guess, to Aaron Rodgers, 14 grand is, not
Exactly.
even a slap on the wrist. That's more like a pillow.
That's not even one Allstate commercial payment. What you mean?
So I think, and I'll have to check. I don't know if I actually gave you those protocols, JT, or the fine schedules that while I was up with the Vikings that they actually handed out the fines, and that doesn't seem right. That seems like tier one. That the 14,000 fine was if you missed a test. You didn't wear your mask, you didn't wear your um, whatever wristbands that you had to have with the trackers and all that kind of stuff. But they had another level of like 50,000, or basically if you missed a game or something that could end up to being like a game check. So I was thinking it was going to actually be up towards a game check, that because he wasn't vaccinated and potentially been around other people, and if he wasn't following other things that they're supposed to.
Oh, we know he wasn't following other things. He said he wasn't He said he followed all the protocols except for the ones that didn't make sense. Those were his words.
The most interesting thing that I thought I heard him say was how he deals with people. And I don't know that I believe this part, that he said that he only wore he wore his mask all the time, even outside of the facility, except for when he was around a group of people that were all vaccinated, and then he would take his mask off. Kind of weird. So all the people that he was around are vaxxed, and yeah, that's a good one. 40,000 for an untucked jersey. Yeah, I agree. But you know, people can go down that wrong hole on what happens when quarterbacks don't get fined and others do and whatnot. And I don't want to make it about that, that kind of stuff. But it's true, Claire. They just kind of make up things as they go along. I think so. I don't know. I guess he'll be back. I need Aaron Rodgers to be back, as he said, because I got him in quite a few of my fantasy football leagues, and I need him to show out because my backups aren't that good right now. I'm losing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm not doing well in our Teague Take League either right now.
Well, I gave up on that one.
Yeah, you can't give up. Well, you want to trade your folks away? I mean,
Who you go trade for? Everybody was on IR. You can have all of them.
I'll send something. For you. But anyway, those were kind of the some of the hot topics. All right, another one. Now we don't normally talk about rap music and all that kind of stuff up here, but I'm going to throw this in just as a topic. Uh, Travis Scott, he getting in trouble for the trampling, inciting a riot at his concert and having 8 people die out there in the stands. Y'all ain't heard about this?
They charged him for inciting a riot?
Well, they basically said that this is not the first time that he's done this. I guess they're not calling it a riot, but basically encouraging people to come to get on the stage. They tell them,
Yeah, I know nothing about this.
barriers, come on up here. Well, a very well prominent, known artist with thousands upon thousands of people at his concert, which was outdoors. And they had the barricades and all kind of things up. So what we've been told or known, that he often tells people, come on, move closer and whatever, jump the barricades or whatever. Well, as his crowd surged, a lot of people got trampled and died. It went further because um, while the ambulances came there and trying to navigate their way up through these people, they did not stop the concert. They still up there jamming. And there's people out there trying to tell these people, man, there's people hurt, dead, this kind of stuff. And they just kept on partying. So we're saying typically when you see ambulances and all that kind of stuff out there, that most people will at least cut the music.
Stop. Common courtesy.
but he didn't do it. He kept on
Right.
going. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it could be bad for him. I don't know. I doubt it though. Same kind of thing. I think he'll probably beat it. He's beat it before, right? Okay, Dallas Cowboys laid an egg. Did you watch the game at all, Marvin? Did you watch any of the Dallas Cowboy games,
You
Broncos?
know, I actually didn't watch the game because I figured that the Cowboys were going to go out and they were going to handle business, so I didn't watch the game.
Mm-mm. That is not what happened.
Clearly, that is not what happened.
So present at the game, and I had never been in a game like that. Two reasons. And a lot of people were talking about it on social media. There was 3/4 of the stadium were Bronco fans. It was orange like a big dog. I was telling Consuelo, I was like, man, do you see all these Bronco fans up in here? You're right. So there's a whole debate on what that means to Jerry and all that kind of stuff. And there was plenty of butts in the seat. It was sold out, but it was a lot of orange in there. But then just the way that they played is kind of what you talked about. The dog mentality wasn't really there. Dak missed some throws. We had CD Lamb open a couple times. Receivers were dropping the ball. Zeke didn't look all that great. He came up gimpy a little bit, moving out. It didn't seem good at all. I know we're shuffling the offensive linemen around. It was bad, man. I hadn't seen him play like that. And overall team, it wasn't good. So I don't know if that's overconfidence by players. They just came out and thought, hey, we're just going to go ahead and win this game, or I don't know. I'm just looking for better because I'm going to go to this Atlanta Falcon game, and they got to do it a whole lot better, right? So, are we comparing them similar to what the Alabama's going through?
Well, I hadn't watched them play, so I can't really compare. No, but I'm in
So you
Atlanta,
watch
so
the
we don't.
Saints? Who you watch? Yeah, who you watch? The Falcons, the
Well,
Saints?
I'm over here, so they always showing these terrible Falcons games. My God, we don't get Dallas games over here. I'm in the Atlanta market, so.
Well, you should see them this week then, because we're playing Atlanta here. So make sure you
But they
tune
better
in.
win because I took the Cowboys. I mean, they can't beat the Falcons. They got problems.
You took the points, or what do you got?
Man, I took them on the money line.
That's your bet. That's your bet.
I'm a money line man. Hey, that's what money line, baby. Hey.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot to say about the Cowboys because it really was bad. The part was we were glad to be able to go to the game. We were able to see Dee Dee Foster and some other.
Was that her first game she went to?
That was her very first game that she'd ever been to.
That
Yeah,
might be her last.
She was a jinx. That's what I said. I can blame it on them. But other than that, I think we're good. All right, JT. Anything else I need to cover before I get ready to sign us off?
No, just a reminder that we'll be YouTube exclusive after the 20th Thanksgiving, whenever that is. I hadn't got that far yet. It's 3 Thursdays from now, I think. I don't know, something like that.
2 Thursdays. Come on, hurry up. Let's go. Let's get that here.
That's right. We got to get here anyway because we got some other good Alabama football games. So yeah, he's right. Make sure that you're tuning in. YouTube, start giving us the followings and the likes over there. Help us out with that. We greatly appreciate it. Marvin, we thank you very much for coming in and being a trooper here and really standing your ground and laying.
Give me one of those spinning helmets.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty cool because it's not on anything. Who helped you put that together, Marvin? I know someone. You ain't do it because you ain't got them kind of skills to put that under the little man.
Excuse me, sir, but I teach engineering at the School of Technology.
The School of Technology? That's the name of the school?
Technology North. Yeah. Technology North, man. They got a North campus and a South campus. I teach at North.
Are you being for real? I can't tell if you're serious or not because you kind of look like.
I'm very serious. That's what I teach enginering, yes.
What kind of engineering?
Civil and electrical.
I don't know. He hang out with Steve Brown or the comedian and whatnot. So I can't ever tell if he.
Yes,
if he
that's
being
that's
for
my
serious.
that's my real day job.
I didn't know you worked. Now, look, I
Justin
said you.
said you're teaching at a truck driving academy.
Justin lives in Mississippi and is single wide. His opinion does not count.
You're a single wide. Oh, good Lord. So, all right. Well, I do. We do really do appreciate you coming in and taking on the challenge of the debate. Again, I apologize because I was silent there for a little while. My technology over here. Maybe I need to get.
Anytime, I'm always up for a good debate.
Yeah, you are. And what I didn't get to do, and we got to have you come back on because Marvin Constant was in his feelings one time, man. I saw him on the dog on Twitter and he was saying something. I was like, man, he all up in his feelings way too much on this thing about former players. And I don't know what he was
Man,
mad
people are getting
about.
on my nerves, man. I had to tell them, man, listen, y'all don't understand the real price for what y'all watching.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a very physical sport and it's very demanding and challenging. And a lot of people really can't understand it that you hadn't actually been out there and got smacked or hit or hurt or shot up or whatever. Smelling sauce, all that kind of stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah, I done been on that table, 9 times? So, yeah, I know all about that.
That's much, man. But much love to you for hanging in there, being who you are, being the trooper that you are. Keep working, kids, and doing what you do because it takes a lot to be able to work with this engineering stuff. So that's why you guys like those graphs and charts and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, the only gripe that I have about engineers is that they want to round pi to 3.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's plenty of wrong with that. But go ahead.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night.
All right, man. We'll see.
All right, roll
We
tide.
appreciate you.
Roll
Marvin.
Tide.
Roll
All right.
Tide. So that's going to do it for us tonight, too. I think it's been a great show, great debate. Make sure you guys and get those likes. Don't forget that they call me Mr. Glue. You might know me as George Teague, though, defender of the star. And of course, you got Bama J, James Theo Teague, who's about to have his wedding anniversary.
Thursday.
It's coming up. So we're going to be wishing him well for that as well. Enjoy your dinner or wherever you decide that you're going to celebrate. It's always a special time. So it's good to see what you and Emily are doing together, building a legacy with the kid as well. So we're going to call it a night. We're going to get out of here. I got to get up early tomorrow because it is early National Signing Day. We got too many signing days, JT.
Oh,
But it's early.
I didn't even. I thought that was in December.
Yeah, it normally is, but it's.
What do you mean normally is and it's not?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Got something to do with COVID or whatnot. I don't even question no more.
I don't even know why they have a signing day. You can just sign whenever. Why do you? Anyway, whatever.
Media exposure. So we do have Caden Kittler who's going to be signing tomorrow. Go to UCF, one of our prominent offensive linemen that we have, and man, JP2. We got a lot of soccer people and softball things of that nature. So it's going to be a good day for us in the morning. But I got to be up there about 7:30 in the morning to go celebrate with them. So I'm going to call it an early night. And so we thank you very much. Clara, you're a Teague. Justin, all of you guys are Teagsters. We thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Same time, same place, same channels, 8 p.m. Central Time, right here. Talk to you later.